Let's try another example. Follow along with me. This time we're going to write a function that takes in a string and returns a string with the first letter removed from the beginning of the string and instead placed at the end. We've got the func, let's give it a name. Let's call it placeFirstLetterLast. It's going to take in a string as a parameter. Let's call that parameter myString. And it will return a string as well. And now comes the meat of the function. Just going to put a placeholder string here to quiet the compiler. Let's start out by adding the first letter to the end of myString. We can do that using the append function. Append is a method, a function that's part of the string class. So we call the method append on an instance of the string class using dot syntax. We just type the name of the string, a dot, and the name of the method followed by parentheses. We place any input parameters between the parentheses. In this case, the parameter is a character to append to myString. So how will we get the first character of myString? Well, we just wrote a function that returns the first character of a string. Let's use that and put it here as the argument to append. Okay, the compiler's upset about something. Let's see what this error says. Immutable value of type string only has mutating members named append. See, because myString is a parameter, it defaults to being a constant, as if it were declared with let. If we declare it with var, the error should go away. Sweet! So far, we've appended the first letter to the end of the string. Now we need to also remove it from the beginning of the string. For that, we can use the function removeAtIndex. RemoveAtIndex takes an index as a parameter. The index we want to remove is the start index. And of course, instead of returning placeholder, we want to return myString. And that ought to do it. So let's test it out by calling the function, and we'll call it on the string mom. Over here in the sidebar, you can see that mom becomes Om, and we're ready for yoga. But before we move on, I'd like you to notice the difference between how we call global functions and how we call methods. For example, append is called on an instance of the string class using dot syntax. It's a method. Global functions, on the other hand, like placeFirstLetterLast, are not called by any object in particular.